Hello and welcome to a new episode of our podcast, das SerienSprechzimmer, meaning the TV consulting room in German. We had the chance to talk to Pico Alexander and Finn Jones, both from the second season of the hit series Dickinson, a TV show that you can watch on Apple Plus TV. My English is not my mother tongue, but I think you will enjoy the interview we had for the second season of this wonderful TV show.
Hello.
Hi, Melanie.
Hello, Melanie.
I'm from Berlin, Germany. We're snowed in, so I hope you're doing better than us. It's really cold.
No, we're snowed in too. There's a lot of snow over here.
Okay. How challenging is it to work on a TV series in times like these? Is it more challenging?
Well, we actually shot this show before COVID hit. So we filmed this. We finished filming in January 2020. So it was actually stands out in my head as like kind of the last job that I worked on in an environment where people weren't freaked out by each other. So it's beautiful. And, you know, since then I have worked on productions that, you know, in COVID land and still like, it's still really great to, you know, you're still able to work on television sets in a safe manner. And that was kind of like good to see that it is all still possible despite this fucking virus.
So you didn't have to work with masks on all the time.
Well, for this, so for the show that I did just work on, you had to wear masks when the camera wasn't rolling, but then everyone else was as well. But you know, people are getting tested 3 times a week. You know, it's really, really, really managed, and so everyone feels safe and everyone's responsible. You know.
Okay, Pico, how would you describe your character Henry or Ship, and how do you think has his relationship with Lavinia helped her evolve and emancipate?
I think sometimes when you're faced with an obstacle and you have to overcome it, you know, you end up learning a lot about yourself. So I think Ship kind of serves like he's kind of the spark in a way where, because Lavinia is able to see all of these qualities that she has a problem with in herself, she's able to see them in him. She realizes, that's not what I want at all. You know, it's like, I guess he helps her reach her rock bottom.
Okay, good. Finn, and you play this newspaper editor. How do you think Sam would handle news today, including social media?
Well, it's interesting you say that because I made a lot of connections between Sam Bowles, who was the editor of this new technology, right? In the 18th century, like the printing press was this new thing. People weren't used to it before. It was really getting into people's lives in ways that no one had ever seen a technology do so before. Similar to how we see social media these days and things like Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And so, like, I often likened Sam Bowles to someone like Jack Dorsey, the head of Twitter. And so it's interesting to see those parallels. Yeah.
So this is for both of you. Season 2 is a bit about fame as well. Emily is really tempted by fame. Is this a feeling you can relate to? And if so, can you elaborate how?
I think, you know, people that are creative always want their work to be viewed. And, you know, if you create art, you want that art to be seen and understood by someone, right? And I think Emily's going through a situation where she desires to be seen and understood, but then it's also getting kind of like mixed in with this idea of like fame at large and like what that means to one's ego or idea of self. And she's figuring it out, you know, does she really want fame, or does she just want like creative integrity? And yeah, it's interesting that the show kind of like takes us on that journey and really like looks at all different facets of what fame is.
Because I guess it's part of being an actor as well, right? I mean, you do want to do your art, but it kind of goes with how famous are you going to be?
It definitely comes with the territory. I definitely relate to being drawn to fame in some way, and I don't totally understand it in myself or in other people. I guess You know, you just want to feel loved by the world, or feel like what you're doing is enough, or that you're enough, you know?
Yeah. So Dickinson is a period piece, but it uses 21st century cultural reference like no other show before. I really felt it did it really well.
Oh,
How
cool.
would you describe it?
Yeah,
I would say it went really well too.
Yeah, I think the wonderful thing about Elena is she understands both worlds so well. Like, she really understands contemporary culture, and she also understands the historical world of like Emily Dickinson, and the way that she blends them together is just so seamless, and it really works because of Elena's like real understanding of both worlds. So yeah, it's a joy to be a part of, to play in that world, because it does feel so effortless.
If you had to describe season 2 in 3 words, what would they be?
Sexy, fun, and brilliant.
Nobody wants fame.
Really good. Pico, you're American, Finn, you're British. Do you feel different about the writer Emily Dickinson, given your own cultural upbringing? I was wondering, because obviously to Americans she means a lot more than maybe to us in Europe. Or am I completely looking at it the wrong way?
No, I mean, I had no idea who Emily Dickinson was until this show came around. It wasn't something, she wasn't someone that we were taught in schools. We were taught about Charles Dickinson. It's a very different literary figure. But I think over here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pico, but a lot of people study Emily in school, right?
Yeah,
That's like a common thing.
we definitely went over it in middle school or high school or something. Yeah.
Weren't paying attention.
I had no idea what was going on then. I barely have any idea what's going on now.
Pico, I know you're not on Instagram and Twitter and all this because I researched, but I still felt that season 2 pokes a little bit of fun at the really like woke Instagram and influencer generation.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit how you guys feel about this?
I guess elaborate on the kind of the role of Instagram and social media in Dickinson.
Yeah.
Well, I think social media is a platform where people can that's tied a lot to personal status, and a lot of the younger characters in the world of Dickinson are concerned about just that, right? Is their own status. How do they appear to everybody in the town? And I'm sure if social media was around then, they would all be on it. Again, not a criticism of social media, just I think that's those two things have something to do with one another.
What can you tell us about the upcoming season 3? It must be so awesome knowing already that there is a season 3.
That's super cool.
It's great that Apple has commissioned another series of the show. I think it's a testament to Elena and the whole crew's like wonderful, great work. But it's still in the early stages of development, so we don't know that much yet, and we can't really give much information out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So were you guys fan of the show before you joined it, or how did you perceive it?
The show hadn't been released before we joined. Apple TV hadn't even been released, so we were really kind of going in with kind of like blind faith. Like, we read the scripts and the scripts were fantastic, but we had no idea, how Apple was going to turn out or how the show was going to turn out. And I just feel very fortunate that the streaming platform and the show is as successful and well curated as we all hoped it would be.
I mean, streaming streaming networks have become such a great, I think, creative platform for TV shows and movies. And I think that Apple TV Plus has done a wonderful job. Or how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm really grateful that Apple is creating content, because they're doing it in a way of it's so sophisticated, right? They're really spending the money, but not only are they spending the money, but they're bringing really great talent together. They have a lot of taste, and it's just wonderful to see to see a company as large as Apple spend the money and invest in culture, you know?
Yeah, there's one thing I have to tell you about Apple and how they do.
There's some acting there.
That was acting.
Really good. Well, you know, my parents are from Spain, and we say that someone has cojones when they're really, maybe you know it, but when they're really brave to do something. And I did think that while I was watching Emily Dickinson, that the network does have, that they're brave and they're really like putting out a couple of subjects that are sometimes not seen on TV yet. So one of the things that I really, really appreciate was the queerness of it and how it's not like labeling it, but like it's just part of the show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I remember when I sat down with Apple, one of the things they said is they really wanted to make content which kind of pushed the envelope. That it wasn't just content for entertainment purposes, but it served some sort of like societal or cultural evolvement, you know. And so like having a show about Emily Dickinson, which is a queer narrative, is it's just wonderful to see, you know. It's like it's 21st century as it should be. It's, you know, telling stories about real human beings as they are in the real world. And I think the more content we have like that represents people from around the world, the better we will be as a global society to understand each other. I mean, that's what storytelling is about, right?
And is there anything that makes it different being like in a period piece? I mean, Finn, you've done Game of Thrones. Obviously, you know a little bit about it, and then Iron Fist was a little bit different. But Pico, I actually only know you from movies, I must admit. But maybe you can tell me a little bit how it feels to be in a period piece.
It was great fun. It was great fun. Wearing those costumes and the hair and the sets, and I like playing dress up, you know.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to see because it takes so much of its own unique skill and talent to create these costumes and to build out this world in the sets, to like see so much like artistic. It's just like a lot of artists coming together to build out a very unique world. To be actors and to embody all other people's like incredible work, it just feels very empowering as a performer, and it feels like you're a part of something where a lot of people have like put a lot of like really great creative energy into.
Yeah, no, I'm happy. I'm super happy you said that, Finn, because I'm realizing like the real heroes of these period pieces, it's the people that are building all these sets and these costumes. And I mean, the amount of effort that it takes, the technical skill that you have to have
and the devotion.
It's so impressive. It's so unbelievable.
Yeah, I felt very lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, because you show up on set, it's like a freaking museum, you know. I mean, they literally built Emily Dickinson's house in a Navy Yard in Brooklyn somewhere, you know. The exact dimensions and the wallpaper matches. It's weird. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So my last question would be, what is the best reaction you had from like family, fans, whoever? Do you have something that someone told you about the show that you really, really appreciate hearing?
I was kind of blown away that it received 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I know those indicators. Yeah.
Did it really?
You see that? Yeah. You know, those things I never really pay too much attention to, but it's always nice to see that critics and fans around the world are really enjoying it as much as we enjoyed making it.
Well, I for sure love it. Thank you so much. This has been a highlight today. and I can wait to see season 3. I really hope it's going to be as good as season 2. Thank you so much.
All right, take care. Stay warm.
Thank you, Melanie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the snow day.
This is it. I hope you had a good time listening to both. The second season is on Apple Plus TV. We will upload a second episode of this podcast with Toby Haas, who plays Edward Dickinson, Emily Dickinson's father, quite soon. So check it out. Stay tuned. Stay healthy. Bye-bye.